When you need some help at center, who are you going to call? It's Goga Bitadze stepping in once again today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is November 14th. It will be November 15th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD, as well as now on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we're going to talk about Goga Bitadze, how he has stepped up once again for the Orlando Magic and brought something new to the team, leading us to maybe ponder some more difficult questions down the road. Plus, how the rest of the team is rounding into form after a slow start to the season. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And you can make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day thanks to the Locked On Magic daily newsletter. It's the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Wednesday's game was a big one for Goga Bitadze. Goga is happy-go-lucky. He's very kind of agreeable, amenable dude. Signed a 3-year, $25 million contract, knowing he'd probably not get a lot of playing time unless there was an injury, which was a shock to all of us because he's very clearly a rotation player. But beating the Indiana Pacers and giving thanks to the Orlando Magic for the opportunity that they've given him and being part of this group clearly means a lot to him. Clearly is a major deal and a major thing for him and for this team. It sucks that Wendell Carter's out. And yes, there are going to be Wendell Carter hates in the comments, and I get that. I understand that. I'm going to talk about how great Goga Bitadze has been here in a minute. Wendell Carter was having a fantastic start to the season. Maybe not scoring the way that we all wanted him to, but a fantastic start to the season. And then, of course, injuries hit. The plantar fasciitis, which is really hard to come back from and really hard it's a big deal. It's a hard injury. Was just rotten luck once again for him and put him and the Magic back in that bind. But the good news is that Magic had that depth. With Goga Bitadze's tendon strain or tendonitis or whatever it was clearing up, he was able to step back into the starting lineup and give this team some normalcy and give this team some stability with their rotation once again. And Batadze, like he did last year when he stepped into the starting lineup, has delivered again. The numbers really do speak for themselves. 6 offensive rebounds, 12 points, blocking shots last night, or Wednesday night against the Pacers. Let me grab my box score right here so I can grab his full numbers from last night, which, of course, we talked about on pod yesterday a little bit. 12 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, 6 or 7 shooting, even hit a jumper. Goga Bitadze gives this team the grit and determination that they need on the defensive end. He is an excellent rebounder. He plays above the rim, finishing lobs. He knows his role really, really well. And that is all the Magic could ask for from him. That is all the Magic need from him. And that's, frankly, all Batadze wants to give. He doesn't want to do too much. He's trying to introduce a three-point shot, which might fall into the category of trying to do too much here a little bit. But he's not trying to ever do too much. He knows what he's good at and delivers it for this Magic team. In his 6 starts this season, Batadze is averaging 7.6 points per game. That's for the season, 7.6 points per game. In his 6 starts this season, he is averaging 10.5 points per game and 9.3 rebounds per game. He has become a consistent double-double threat. On top of all this, he's posted 10 blocks in those 6 games as a starter. And according to Second Spectrum, opponents have shot 53.1% against him at the rim, a mark that trails only Tristan da Silva, 44.8%. It's pretty good, actually. Jonathan Isaac, back down to an incredible 47.6%, including 3 blocks last night against the Pacers. And yes, Wendell Carter at 50%. Like I said, Wendell Carter was playing a lot better than I think a lot of people were giving him credit for. But what Batadze gives this team that's just a little bit different is that ability to play above the rim. Wendell Carter needs to gather before he jumps. He's not going to make a quick second jump. Batadze can get up, block shots above the rim, can get up, finish alley-oops above the rim, and that's an element that has helped the Magic a ton. There is no doubt that the Magic season would have been on much thinner ice. We'd be talking down with Milwaukee and Philadelphia with how much they struggled to start the gates. And look, they've had their own injury issues too. I'm not going to pretend that they're not going to recover here. And Magic Sixers, of course, on Friday night is going to be a big test for this Magic team. Batadze has delivered in a significant way because he just does that dirty work. He is happy to get whatever he can get. He is happy to scavenge. He is happy to finish around the rim, to just gather up rebounds, to swallow up rebounds, and help others be better. That's why Goga Bitadze works. More than any other player, as much as any other player, Goga Bitadze has embraced sort of the Orlando Magic way. He has sort of embraced what it means to be a Magic player. And by that I mean he has embraced this team's culture. He believes in his teammates. He is willing to sacrifice so much for everyone else. Let's make this 100% clear. And it should be clear. Magic fans should know this. Goga Bitadze is a rotation player. He is someone that can contribute and help a team. And while I still think he's a little undisciplined at times on defense, chasing some blocks, his ability to jump quickly on that second jump makes up for a lot of that. And while he is very limited offensively, and I think the Magic prefer having some more versatility on that offensive end, the Magic still make it work with Batadze. And this is a team, again, that's not super great on offense. Batadze gave up a sure spot in rotation somewhere around the league. I think he even said that he turned down bigger offers because the Magic offered him something that matters to him. And that is a family. That is an organization that cares so deeply about him. Goga was a little salty still about Indiana. And look, his time in Indiana was unfortunate. Some of it, I think even Batadze mentioned, was he wasn't ready for the opportunity. He wasn't ready for what was demanded. There was a coaching change between his second and third year, his first and second year. I forget where that was. And yeah, he became a salary casualty so the Pacers could cut some costs or free up an open roster spot. He came to Orlando because he just got lost in the shuffle in Indiana. He's happy that the Magic are able to beat the Pacers. He's happy that he can play well against his former team. Don't think revenge games aren't real. But the Magic now have a bigger dilemma. And it's not one they have to worry about right now because Wendell Carter is out and he's going to be out for a little while. The Magic, like they did last year, have too many centers. Too many quality centers. And while that's not a problem, they do have to make some decisions. Now, the good news is this decision is something they can delay. As long as everybody's happy and playing hard for each other, now they can tell Wendell Carter, hey, don't come back too early like you did last year. I know you want to play 82 games. Obviously, that's out the window. Take your time coming back. Come back healthy. Come back at your best. We can hold the ship steady without you. That's a good thing. Depth is not a bad thing. But Goga Bitadze deserves to be in the rotation. And look, Mo Wagner is leading the team in scoring off the bench, as the Magic pointed out. Mo Wagner and Franz Wagner led the team in scoring over the last 3 games, or were among the top scorers in the last 3 games. They're the first brothers to do that in the NBA in a very, very long time. Batadze has a lot to offer. We clearly see that. He gives this Magic team something that they don't necessarily get anywhere else on this roster. And that's the challenge moving forward. The challenge now for the Magic is, how do we get the most out of these 3 centers? And yeah, eventually it might be which of these 3 centers can we upgrade or which ones fit most in the trade market. That's going to be a question down the road. Maybe not a question today. It's still November. It's still a month away from the opening of trade season. But the Magic do have that in their back pocket again, too. In the short term, then, Goga Bitadze has stepped up, plain and simple. The Magic know exactly what they're going to get from him. He knows exactly what his role is, and he has thrived in it. And deserves all the praise and recognition that I'm giving him, that I'm sure we're seeing in the comments as this podcast ages a little bit. Batadze absolutely is a player for this Orlando Magic team, and it's going to be difficult not to play him. That's probably where things are trending. We could debate those reasons when we get to that point of the debate, but Batadze has helped this team recover, bounce back, get back to 7-6, and put themselves in a position to still be in that place to accomplish their preseason goals, even with Paolo Banchero out. While Goga Bitadze has been a big, big, big piece of this puzzle, another piece of this puzzle is just time. Why the Orlando Magic have started to round into form, and why we all just needed to give this team a little chance to breathe and get their feet under them. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by Robinhood. Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn their very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhoodgold.com robinhood.com/gold. That's robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product specific disclosures. Visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. So last night, or Wednesday night, sorry, I'm recording this on Thursday. It's Friday now. I don't know. Every day's Tuesday in the NBA. Last night, Wednesday night, Jonathan Isaac was on the podium for the first time, talking to us after a really solid game. Isaac finished with 8 points, 3 blocks, 11 rebounds. An excellent game for Jonathan Isaac. Game where he started to look more like the Jonathan Isaac that we wanted to see. In fact, I would say that Jonathan Isaac really has not been what we wanted him to be to this point in the season. But that started to change a little bit, or that changed slightly on Wednesday. And as Isaac spoke to us at the podium after the game, he made a little bit of an admission that the start of the season for him was a little weird, that he didn't play perhaps the way that he'd hoped for or the way that he imagined he would. He didn't play Jonathan Isaac basketball, or the way that we all expect Jonathan Isaac to play. A lot of us speculated that maybe he's looking a little slower, a little less nimble because he put on the weight. He's, at 250 pounds. So it's, learning how to move at that size is different. Some of us speculated that perhaps there were still some injury restrictions. Granted, he played more than 20 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back Wednesday night against Indiana. So maybe it definitely feels like those restrictions are off and he's fully cleared to go. But really, it's kind of just simply Isaac said he just needed to get his feet under him. Quite simply, Isaac and the Magic as a whole, yeah, they have continuity. Yeah, they had maybe a little bit of a favorable schedule or a more difficult schedule to start the season, depending on how you want to view things. They just needed to kind of get themselves going again, rediscover their roles, figure out how they fit together. We're not a quarter of the way through the season yet, 13 games in, quarter of the season's about 21, 22. So in the next 3 weeks, we are going to hit the quarter mark of the season. And the going thought is around game 30, 35, you're kind of where you're going to be. In the standings, record-wise, there's just not a lot of fluctuation in the standings. I think it's something like 7 of the 8 playoff teams, or like 9 of the 10, or 8 of the 10 postseason teams are set in place by around game 35, by near the midpoint of the season. So again, it's not like you can spend some time getting your legs under you and then you make your push. Again, we know that December is going to be very difficult for the Orlando Magic. We have a very difficult December schedule coming up. But these are humans too. And I always stress this with people. Give these players a chance to get their feet under them. Give them a chance to kind of find their footing, to kind of find who they are. And that's what Jonathan Isaac needed. Jonathan Isaac needed a chance to get his feet under him. And I think we can look throughout the course of this roster and see that play out. That so many players on this roster, so many players needed to get comfortable like that, needed to feel their legs under them in order to take the step forward that they need, in order to be the players we expected them to be. I mentioned the Jonathan Isaac stat. Opponents are shooting less than 50% at the rim against him. So if the eye test tells you, oh, Isaac looks a little slow or isn't having the defensive impact that maybe we all thought he would, there might be something to that. But statistically, yeah, Jonathan Isaac is still really strong defensively. I'm going to pull up the all defense numbers, which, again, just means something, may not mean something. I don't know. But as I'm stalling to pull up the on-off numbers for Jonathan Isaac, which are usually just absolutely sterling, when I've looked at those numbers, they've been off. Well, guess what? It's back to normal. The Magic have a 97.8 defensive rating with Isaac on the floor, which is the best of any rotation player on the team. The problem is the Magic are -9 offensively when he's on the floor. And again, Magic's offense has been weird, but 88.8 offensive rating is the worst among rotation players too. So Isaac's had to get his legs under him offensively, and that's what's begun to happen over the last few games. Isaac went 2 for 3 on threes in Wednesday's game. That's a positive sign. That's a positive step forward for him. And if Isaac needed some time to get his legs under him, think about the rest of the roster. Look at Franz Wagner, for instance. Franz Wagner was sick. We don't really know what that illness was, but you could look at him and tell he was kind of out of it. And he struggled a little bit in some of those early games. Paolo Banchero had to carry a lot of weight because Franz was sick. Well, Franz is feeling better now, and look at him now. Look at how Franz Wagner has played over the last 6 or 7 games. In the last 6 games, Franz Wagner is averaging 26.8 points per game, shooting 46.5% from 3, getting to the line for 6.3 free throw attempts per game, 5.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists per game, plus 1.7 stocks on top of it. Franz Wagner is playing like an all-star right now. And again, the Magic are where they are in the standings. That's going to be Franz's ticket to the all-star game. I know I said this a million times during the losing streak last week that yes, there are some concerning things. There are things we need to watch, but we also need to take the temperature down a little bit. Everyone is kind of finding their way without Paolo Banchero. And obviously now this team back home, a little bit of comfort, have found their way. And again, challenge is going to be, can you beat a team with elite level talent like the Philadelphia 76ers on Friday? Can you take this out on the road and have a good road trip out west in Phoenix and Los Angeles? That is the next challenge for this team. It's, we're going to get into the meat of the schedule here in a little bit. Got the big road, got the West Coast road trip next week, got the big road trip to New York and Philadelphia coming up at the end of the month. And then December is a little bit of a grind. So the Magic needed to get themselves into form. And again, they used this homestand. Regardless of what happens Friday, big NBA Cup game Friday, by the way, regardless of what happens Friday, the Magic are in a position, in a spot to call this a success. They won 4 games on this homestand already. They made back that ground they lost from the road trip. Still stings. They'll still look back at that road trip and say, we needed to do better in that moment. We didn't handle the immediate aftermath of the injury well. That's fine. We'll get to that in April. But they made that ground back up, and now they got to start kind of picking back momentum. And again, this game Friday is a big one. It's a test for this team to say, okay, are the Magic serious, or are we just kind of going to hover around 500 until Paolo's back? That's going to be the challenge now. That's the big challenge. But regardless, this homestand has been a success because the Magic have been able to correct things. They have been able to kind of find their footing. We know the defense is going to be there, but they found their footing. They found some offensive flow. They found their path to winning. They found their way to win. And now they got to take that on the road. They got to beat good teams. They got to beat good players. And they just needed that chance to kind of settle down a little bit, especially after the injury, And Jonathan Isaac is a great example of that. This team has gone through a lot early in the season. No doubt about it. Emotionally, physically, all that. They've gone through a lot. And they've needed some time to understand their roles. Like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had the kind of game we're hoping to see from him regularly on Wednesday night. He's fit in defensively. He's still finding his fit offensively. Frankly, I think the Magic are still figuring out how to use him offensively. And we're starting to see them expand how they use him and what they do with him. And I think that's ultimately going to help him too. The Magic have indeed started to find that footing again. And we'll see how much that carries over here in the next week. Thursday brought the debut or the unveiling of the Orlando Magic's new City Edition uniforms. My thoughts on the Kingdom on the Rise jerseys coming up in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, do live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The Orlando Magic and the NBA have unveiled the City Edition jerseys. I know people are kind of over the jersey thing, and I agree. It's a little bit of overkill. I like the concept of the City Edition jersey. I wish they'd maybe rotate them a little bit, allow teams to have the same jersey. I know they're trying to sell something, but I would like. There's been some good jersey designs throughout the league that I'm just like, we're only getting this for a year. Like, this is a good jersey. Put that back in the rotation. And I know that most Magic fans, when they see these City Edition jerseys, they're either A, unimpressed with what Nike's come up for them or the concept that the Magic have made. Love the space jerseys. Intrigued by the orange idea. Wish they would have done a little bit more with it, or wish they would have taken some of those ideas and put them in the more traditional blue colors, especially the throwback jerseys, the 2 throwback Magic jerseys that they made. And then this Kingdom on the Rise concept has been interesting conceptually, although a little confusing as far as like, why are the Magic getting like a castle motif other than just the obvious connections to Disney. I will say this though, the New Jerseys this year are obviously the next step of the evolution. They had a dark blue jersey that people were generally okay with, but not crazy about. That was last year's jersey. They did the black jersey, which was interesting and different. Most people just complained about the font. I will say this. I think this year's jersey, the white version of this jersey, is the best of the Kingdom on the Rise jerseys. The white jersey is just clean. You see the chainmail concept that they've had on both of the previous jerseys that were just too dark to show that part of the design off. I know people don't love the Gothic font, and I'm with you there. It's not my favorite, but it's at least got some character and personality, which I don't think the current Magic font has, or the current logo font has. I'm intrigued by the Make It Magic font that they're using, and I still suspect that they're testing that out to see if people like it, and that may be a direction that the team goes with a logo redesign. I've seen people mock that up, and I don't hate that. This is a good jersey, and obviously they will debut next Saturday against the Detroit Pistons when the team gets back from their West Coast trip. So there is something to like. This is a clean jersey. Most of the responses that I've seen from both Magic fans and national media say, while they're still a little confused by the font and why the Magic are kind of going to this different style for this set of jerseys, most people agree that this white jersey is very clean and very solid. And I agree with that. I really do like the white jersey. I think that it again, it's just a solid jersey. I mean, again, we could argue about the font, we could argue about the shade of blue that they're using, but this is a good jersey, at least for the concept of what the team is doing. As I've noted and probably hinted at, so much of every jersey discussion and every logo redesign discussion with the Magic always centers back on when are the Magic redesigning their logo and when are they going back to the original logo design. The most popular stuff, the most popular things that the Magic have are always nostalgic. It's go back to the original logo from the late 80s, early to mid 90s. Go back to the pinstripe uniforms. In fact, the Magic's NBA Cup court, which they will be playing on for the final time on Friday, by the way, that NBA Cup court has pinstriped stars to be reminiscent of both the 2000 jerseys that the Magic wore last year as their classic edition, but also reminiscent of the pinstripe motif that is the kind of iconic look for this franchise. These jerseys have that too, actually. These City Edition jerseys have a kind of chainmail link pinstripe look to them, which is a nice little evolution considering the theme of, Kingdom on the Rise, but also very much is playing into this is what the Magic, what Magic fans expect from a Magic jersey. A Magic jersey without pinstripes or some type of pinstriping is usually looked down upon. Is usually thought of as that's not good. That's not the Magic. The Magic's current jersey has a quasi pinstripe, but that's why they still have it. That's why they still have that design in them. Everyone is eager to see this Magic team again kind of reach back into its vault a little bit. And obviously they can't bring back the same logo. Like I said, I do think that the Magic's, if you go around the arena, they have the Make It Magic branding everywhere in the building now. I still very much think that they're testing that font out. I have seen much smarter graphic designers than me put that font into the original Magic logo with the basketball. And I think that works actually. I know it's not everyone's favorite font, but I do think that works. And that would be a great callback to the original logo, especially if you can reintegrate the star, which is always just the biggest thing missing in the current logo to me is that it has no character, which the star for the A, I think, gave the logo a little bit of character. These jerseys are fine. Again, I don't go crazy about jerseys. I know they're trying to sell stuff. I know they're trying to get people to buy. And again, for everyone who hates these City Edition jerseys and the fact that they come up with new jerseys every year, these things still fly off the racks. People still buy this stuff like crazy. And Nike's going to keep pumping out jerseys like this until jersey sales fall. Sorry, that's how this works. It'll be interesting to see how they look in person. I have actually seen them in person, but not worn. They were kind of tucked away. But it's it's a jersey. It's a jersey. It's a nice looking jersey. It's a good jersey. Magic did a good job with this. I'm eager to see if they come up with a new concept for their City Edition jerseys next year. This will be their third Kingdom on the Rise jersey. So I imagine a new concept is coming. They've usually done them in threes. They did 3 orange jerseys, they did 3 orange jerseys, or I think 3 space jerseys, maybe 4 orange jerseys. They'll probably come up with a new City Edition concept next year. So enjoy the Kingdom on the Rise for however long we have it. But I do think that these jerseys work pretty well. That's going to do it for me, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipR_OMD. Find me on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. And be sure to check me out. Check me out on all my work at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find me there on Twitter as well at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. Pinned to the top of that page at the moment is my video breakdown of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and all the ways he's helping the Magic, even though he's not shooting the ball yet, or shooting the ball well yet. You can check that out again at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Additionally, you can now find the Locked On Magic daily newsletter as well for your one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the Magic's NBA Cup game against the Philadelphia 76ers. Until then, though, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.